Hi, this is your best friend. I'm here with a Sableye V deck profile, Turbo Goblins, as I like to call the deck. The objective of the deck is pretty simple. We're going to try to blow opponents up with Sableye V. Now that we've got the Turbo Patch card from the latest set, we can power up Sableye V's Crazy Claws attack in a single turn. The Sableye V does have the Load Search attack. Put a trainer card from your discard pile into your hand. Not very useful. It can dig you out of some tough situations, but we rarely have ever used this attack. We're wanting to use this second one, Crazy Claws. It has a crazy multiplier of 60 more damage for every damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. That means with 3 damage counters, you are hitting for 190 plus 3, which is 220, knocking out most V, all 2 prize GX Pokemon. Unfortunately, just out of Zacian V range, but with 4 damage counters, you can hit Zacian V's KO all tag teams as well without any HP modifiers, and with 5 damage counters, you can knock out everything, tag teams, even the mighty VMAX Pokemon. So we're not using any attacks to put damage counters on our opponents. We are relying 100% on Zigzagoons with those Headbutt Tantrum Pings and Roxie plus Weezings and Koffings. Some people only like to play Weezings in the deck, worried about starting Koffings. I don't think it's a huge issue. You really want to get your Roxie Pings off as soon as possible. You want to even try to get like at least 3 Roxie Pings across the first 2 turns, so you really want to have as many as possible. Plus, having the Koffing means that you have a quick ball searchable way of finding a card to discard with Roxie. So I'm playing the 3-4 Koffing Weezing line. This does mean that you are going to start Koffing occasionally, but I don't think it's that big of an issue with the Scoop Up Nets and everything, and plenty of switches in the deck. So yeah, we are playing for Jirachi. It's Jirachi. It's pretty common. It's not going to be, you're not going to get to Stellar Wish in this deck as often as some decks, since you really want to save your Scoop Up Nets for Zigzagoons. But I mean, it's still Stellar Wish. It's a great starter. It still digs you out of some bad spots. Helps you find those turn 1 and turn 2 Roxies that the deck so desperately needs. We play 1 Eldegoss V along with 1 copy of Boss's Orders. Lets you go ahead and gust up in a turn max. You've been putting damage onto a Dedenne to finish off games, stuff like that. We don't play any Dedenne ourselves. We don't play any Crobat because we really want the bench space, but an Eldegoss V to finish the game off is pretty useful. So we're going to play 1 of those, as well as 1 Oricorio, some last minute draws. Sableye is very fragile, so it's going to be dying pretty much every turn, so Oricorio gets a lot of value over the course of a game. Going to play 2 Great Catchers. Again, just pull up those Dedenne, pull up Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia GX. It's a difficult matchup, but it is possible to KO the ADP turn 2 if they don't get off their GX attack. It is technically possible to even KO the ADP turn 1 going second, but that is about as high roll as you can get. So we want to play that Great Catcher, hopefully pull them up turn 2 and get the KO. Still high roll, but definitely possible. Play 1 Ordinary Rod along with the 3 Sableye. I don't think a 4th Sableye is necessary with the Ordinary Rod, so I think that is fine. Games generally don't last super long, and this just ensures that you can safely discard a Sableye or prize some and still be able to close out games. We've got the standard, 4 Pokégear in every Roxie deck, 4 Quick Ball, 4 Nets, 4 Turbo Patch, 4 Switch. We've got 3 Bird Keeper as a backup supporter, in addition to our Roxies. This deck gets really big hands, so Marnie doesn't really work and Research doesn't really work because you get 2 big hands. The alternative to Bird Keeper is Hapu. I haven't tried that myself yet, but I do think that is a valid option. You don't really mind the discard from your deck, you just don't want to discard your hand, so Hapu is definitely a valid option for some really deep draws to supplement the Roxie. But for now, I'm just playing the Bird Keeper. It helps us with our Jirachi engine. And last of all, we are playing the single Great Ball, the Ace-Spec Great Ball. I had a free-floating space in the deck and thought it would be great. If I could go back and change the deck for the video, I would play 1 Chaotic Swell, though. We have no Stadium Bump in the deck, and as you will see, that does come back to bite us. So if you want to play this deck yourself, There's one change I would recommend. It's fitting a Chaotic Swell in here. Probably cut the Great Ball, although you could also cut a Great Catcher, or maybe even one Pokégear. Those wouldn't be the worst options either. And we're getting right into our first game here. Our opponent, Moxel. We'll be calling the coin flip. And we win the coin flip. We're going to elect to go second. This deck always wants to go second. With Turbo Patches, you can attack going second on your first turn. It rarely happens, but it's an option, and we're not evolving anything anyway, so there's no downside, and we want to get Roxieing as soon as possible. Roxie pings are extremely important in this deck, so you're always going to want to go second if you can. We're up against a Heatran, so probably a Welderbox is what we're assuming here. We have an okay matchup against Welderbox. See the Quick Ball, discard the Martial Arts Dojo, and bring up the Roly-Poly. So it's actually not Welderbox, it's actually Colossal that's playing Heatran as its Fire-type attacker. So, kind of a dead hand here. Actually a completely dead hand, not really a lot we can do. We're just going to attach active, bench a second Sableye. We're not really in any danger here. Can't load search for anything. We'll go ahead and bench the Koffing, scoop it up, and put the Scoop Up Net back. No real point in doing it, but might as well psych our opponents out, make them wonder what's going on. Totally important strategy. And they just have the Candy Colossal in their opening hand, so lucky them. And they're going to research. Just discard some energy, looks like some unimportant cards. They're going to calm in a second Colossal and grab a Sandaconda. So they are playing a Sandaconda, like most Colossal decks are. Looks like this is going to be a 2-prize trade matchup. And they're going to bench, or attach to the bench Sandaconda, and only be able to accelerate 1 fighting energy. So they're not going to be able to attack this turn. And we top deck the Pokégear. And we hit Roxie. Nice. That's all we want. We can really get going now. Deck struggles until it hits its first Roxie, but as long as you don't get disrupted after that, you can generally, usually pretty smooth sailing from there. You can get big hands and just Roxie into Roxie into Roxie. So we're going to go ahead and drop the Zigzagoon ping, make sure we can KO that Heatran, attach, and not really a whole lot else to do. We're going to go ahead and take the first 2-prize knockout and start the races. 190 turn 2, not too bad. And from prizes we get Jirachi and Switch. Good prizes, helps make sure that we're definitely not going to get stuck. They're just going to attach active and Sand Breath, so it looks like they don't have a whole lot going on. We don't have an energy in hand, but we can go ahead and we can always Roxie and hopefully find some more. Since we have Scoop Up Net in hand, I'll go ahead and promote the Zigzagoon just in case we don't get an attack off here. And we will, that Pokégear is pretty useless to us, so we'll go ahead and Quick Ball that away for a Koffing. We don't really need the damage, but we might as well get rid of the Koffings while they're not useful to us. And might as well place the damage counters. Bop, bop. Attach the bench and Turbo Patch. And Turbo Patch, Devil Tails. Okay, not attacking this turn. We'll go ahead and bench the other Sableye. And we will bench a Jirachi in case we get, in case they do play a reset stamp. And we will let them knock out the Zigzagoon. Hoping they don't have boss. If they have boss, we're in a tough position here. We're going to go ahead and come in a Roly-Poly and get to Detonate. So hopefully they don't find boss off this to Detonate. They can knock out the Zigzagoon. Don't really care about that one. Bench a second Roly-Poly. And come in a third Roly-Poly. Probably going to grab their backup attacker. Probably another Sandaconda. Oh, it's actually going to be a Cramorant, which can knock out our active Sableye with the Stadium. So, going to tar Generator to the active so they can attack. And attach manually to the bench Cramorant. And they're going to Sand Breath, massively overkill that Zigzagoon. And make a bit of a mistake here. Promote the Sableye. Should have promoted the Jirachi. I'm going to be Scoop Up Netting it anyway. Could have gotten a free Stellar Wish. Not used to playing Jirachi. I've taken it out of most of my post-rotation decks. But here I really want to get drawing some cards. with Roxie. So I'm just going to go ahead and Scoop Up Net that Jirachi and Roxie away to Jirachi. We're kind of at the point in the game where Stellar Wish isn't super important. We really just want to... All we really need to do is power up this second Sableye. Should be pretty easy to get damage counters on that Cram. You can go ahead and drop the Goon, net the Goon, and Quick Ball, and as long as there's another Goon in our deck, which there is, so we can go ahead and set up that Cram. And yeah, Crazy Claw is the active, and as of right now, we are looking good. We can knock out the Cram with just an attachment. We get boss out of the prizes, so they have to both disrupt us to get rid of our boss and set up a different attacker other than this Cramorant. And they're going to play Rosa. Can get them exactly what they want as far as, you know, Pokemon item energy. But it's not a whole lot of power draw, so it's probably not going to be able to get them into what they need. So they do grab Dedenne. They grab Rare Candy, so I'm assuming they have second Colossal. Yep, there is the second Colossal. They bench a Sandaconda. Okay, so can they get into the Sandaconda and get it powered up? They can, actually, which is what's on board with the Tar Generator, but they still need to disrupt us. So, do they play a Reset Stamp? They can't play Marnie since they already played the Rosa. Are they going to bench Dedenne, look for the Stamp? Tar Generator. And they Sand Breath, no Stamp, so that is game. You can kind of see how this deck is able to definitely race opposing two-prize decks. It's able to get, as long as it's, you know, doesn't brick too hard, you're pretty easily able to find consistent turn 2 190s. So it does very well in the two-prize mirrors. So yeah, boss up and KO. First game down. So we're going to go ahead and get into game 2 with our Sableye V deck. Our opponent has the Nashville Worlds Pikachu deck box. Very nice deck box, and we're going to lose the coin flip. We'll see if our opponent lets us go second. And they actually do elect to go first and let us go second, so we get lucky there. Take a mulligan, so that's not the greatest. Go ahead and shuffle in. And, ooh, double mulligan. Not great. Do start Jirachi, though, and plenty of Ball Search, so pretty good start. Turbo Patch is kind of useless, but otherwise nice. And we will see what our opponent... Oh! We're playing against Mad Party. This is about as close to an auto win as this deck can get. You don't even play Sableye V in this deck, actually. You pretty much just attack with Roxie pings and Sableye pings, because your opponent has such low hit points. You can literally sweep their entire board with Roxie. In fact, if we find the Roxie off of this Pokégear, we can technically win turn 1. So, let's see, how do we want to play this? Well, Great Ball first, and we do find a Weezing. Good. Definitely going to take that. We're going to go all out for the turn 1 win here. Trying to figure out what we're going to discard. We'll go ahead and discard the Turbo Patch, since we're not really going to be using Sableye in this matchup. Might be used at the end to finish off a Dedenne GX, but otherwise, not really going to be used. And we're actually going to thin the Jirachi here for a Zigzagoon. We really need this Pokégear to hit a Roxie, so we're going to thin as much as possible, and we actually get the Roxie off the Stellar Wish. So, don't even need the Pokégear. So we're going to get the double ping from the Roxie, and not a great hand afterwards. So we're not going to get the turn 1 win. Don't even have any nets here. Might be able to pull one off the prizes. We'll just go ahead and knock out the active with Goon. So not quite the turn 1 win, but we're actually going to at least get a turn 1 knockout here. We do actually pull a net off the prizes, not enough to get any more knockouts though. But we've... Oh, and our opponent just concedes. Nice. So we do get the actual turn 1 win there. And yeah, you can see why this deck has such a good matchup against the Mad Party deck. And we will be going ahead and getting into game number 3 here. Gonna call the coin flip. Always pick heads. It didn't work out. But our opponent lets us go second, so heads always wins. And we get a Jirachi start. Not much else going on in this hand, unfortunately. But Jirachi start plus Pokégear in hand can always hopefully bail us out. And we are up against Eternatus. This is an interesting matchup. It's definitely a matchup that you can win. It requires a lot of high roll. If you high roll, you absolutely destroy them. You can, even in theory, get the turn 2, even turn 3 KO on an Eternamax, and if you get that, you're good. If you don't get that, you can definitely be in a lot of trouble, and unfortunately we're not really looking at a high roll hand. Our opponent does put a Dark City in play. That's actually quite helpful for us, and they're going to pass it over to us. Top deck a Dark Energy. That's pretty good. Go ahead and Quick Ball. Get the Dark Energy in the discard for the Turbo Patch. And we will just grab second Jirachi to get drawing some cards, since we have the Bird Keeper in hand. Stellar Wish, and find another Turbo Patch. Save us in case of poor flips. And Bird Keeper into the other Jirachi. And see what we can find. Hopefully find a way to get a Sableye. We do not. We get a third Turbo Patch. Only we had something to Turbo Patch onto. So, not the greatest turn 1. If we get a Roxie off of one of these Pokégears, though, we are in a pretty good spot. Let's see what our opponent does. We're hoping that they attack with Eternamax here. We don't want to see them attack with a Hoopa. We just want to take double Eternamax knockouts in this matchup. We really don't want to knock out a Hoopa, and they're going to switch into the Eternamax and research. Bench some Krogans, fall into Garbodor. Poison doesn't matter in this matchup. They should be one hit KOing all of our guys no matter what. They actually discard a Hoopa. That's good for us. Opponent obviously doesn't know what we're playing yet. They're going to poison Jirachi. Doesn't really matter. And get a third Pokégear. So one of these has to give us a Roxie, right? Right, it's gotta give us a Roxie. Third Pokégear is the charm. Okay, hit the Roxie. Now we can start cruising. Hit the gas. Hit the gas, Roxie. Let's go. And no Sableye V to start attaching to, and no ball search for it. That is rough. They haven't even knocked out one of our Pokemon yet, so we cannot Oricorio, so... Not in a terrible position, since we can always get a Sableye powered up in one turn. Just gonna Stellar Wish. None of these cards are really useful. Probably just grab a Bird Keeper for next turn. And we'll switch into the other Jirachi. We really want the Quick Ball or Great Ball here. And we don't find it. So we'll just take a Roxie and hopefully we can find the Sableye next turn. Flip a heads on a Turbo Patch and get attacking into this Eternamax. And pass it over to our opponent. Fortunately, it looks like they don't have the greatest of starts either. And we are just hoping that they knock us out with this Eternamax here. Their board is full. They do have one Hoopa. But they attached the Eternamax, so it looks like that's what they're going to be KOing us with here. So that's good. And they hit us with the Marnie. Lots of good cards at the bottom of our deck, and get a couple of Goons. And unfortunately, this is a Sableye deck, not a Goons deck. We cannot attack. I mean, I guess we can attack with the Goons, but surprise attack not going to be helping us here. So, draw into the Bird Keeper. Go ahead and Quick Ball away the Darkness Energy. Energy isn't really a problem. We'll finally get a Sableye. Start powering up. We'll drop a Goon. Ping the active and Stellar Wish. We hit a Roxie. Unfortunately, we don't really want to just Roxie one Goon and draw 3, so we'll just Bird Keeper into the Goon. And yikes, it's really not looking good. We can retreat the Goon into the Jirachi, though, thanks to the opponent's stadium, and get another Stellar Wish, and get Great Catcher. Unfortunately, that's going to be a useless card in this matchup. They don't play any GXs. They 100% rely on Crobat for the draws. So, yeah, there's nothing more we can do. And that is turn 3 already, without even so much as an attachment to the Sableye V. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have Boss in hand to knock out. Okay, and they're just going to go straight for the Jirachi knockout. So we're still not in the worst place. We're down 2 prizes. But Sableye is definitely in a position where it could knock out this Eternamax and put us right back in the game. So we are going to go ahead and we will Roxie away the Weezing and the Eldegoss. There isn't really a supporter in the discard we want to grab. Put 1 damage on everything. And we do find a Turbo Patch. We really need the heads off of this Turbo Patch so that we can KO this Eternamax this turn. Drop the Goon, and we hit the heads. So here we go. Sableye is going to be hitting the unholy amount of damage that lets it one-hit KO this massive, huge Pokemon VMAX for just 2 energy. Go ahead and get rid of that useless catcher and drop an Oricorio. Go ahead and draw a couple more cards before we end our turn. And get another Turbo Patch. No follow-up Sableye for the next turn. We're gonna drop the Jirachi in case we get Marnied again? No, we'll go ahead and just hit with Crazy Claws. We already have the 1 Jirachi, so we should be good. And we're gonna take 3 prizes. We get Roxie, that's good. Another Sableye, that's good. And a second Roxie off the prizes. So 3 very good prizes. Another attacker, and some draw support there. Going to attach the Weakness Guard, and it looks like they're going in with the second Eternamax. So if they don't disrupt our hand, it looks like we're in a good spot to just win next turn, assuming we hit the heads on the Turbo Patch. Oh, and they're going to switch into Crobat here. With the free retreat, just looking for Crobat draws. Yeah, they throw out a Viridian Forest. That's how you say that word. Come in the Garb. Probably going to grab nothing. I'm assuming... Oh, okay. They're just going to grab the Crobat. Discard in Eternamus. They don't need that anymore. And draw with Crobat. Probably looking for Boss for future turns. Oh, and they're going to Marnie us. So those great prizes that we drew are at the bottom of our deck now. That's a shame. But with Oricorio, we should hopefully be able to get back in the game. And yeah, they're going to knock out our Sableye. Fortunately, we do draw into 2 switch, so we can at least get a Stellar Wish off. So we'll go ahead and promote the Jirachi. Viridian away the energy. Why can I not say Viridian today? We're going to Viridian away the energy for another energy. Energy is not an issue. And we go ahead and we get into a Roxie off of the Oricorio. And we'll go ahead and Stellar Wish. We'll get that Quick Ball. Not sure what I want to Quick Ball away here. We don't really need the Goon, since we can get the Eternamax to 5 counters with the double Koffing. So we'll just thin out the Goon and get the Koffing out and discard those both with the Roxie. Bit of a connection issue there, but okay, we get it. And we draw into another Turbo Patch and a Sableye. So, as long as one of these Turbo Patches hits heads, we will go ahead and just win the game here. Back-to-back Eternamax knockouts. How many decks get to say they get to do that? So we will bench the Sableye, attach, and Turbo Patch, Tails, and double Tails off of the Turbo Patch. So what do we do now? That wasn't supposed to happen. So we'll bench Jirachi, switch into the other Jirachi, and Turbo Patch? No Turbo Patch. We do hit another net. So with these 3 nets, we can get some more Stellar Wishes in. And one of these Stellar Wishes has to hit the Turbo Patch, right? One of them has to. And there's the Turbo Patch. Okay, last Turbo Patch. Can we hit the heads? We do not. 3 tails in a row. Broken heart emoji. Alright, so now we just have to hope our opponent doesn't have the boss. 8-card hand, they probably have it. If they have it, that's game. Attached to the Hoopa. They're going to switch and... oh, they're switching the Hoopa. So it looks like they don't have boss. They're just attacking with the Hoopa. They Marnie us. That's actually really good for us, because that means we're probably going to draw into our boss here. And yeah, we get the boss. And the attachment. So we should be able to just win the game here. And oh no! Black Market Stadium. This means we don't knock out the Eternamax. And we don't have any Stadium Bump in the deck. That's not good. Looks like our only option of play here is, well, the same option of play we had before. We're just going to have to boss up the Eternamax. Yeah, can't KO the Garb with Goon Pings, too much HP. Hoopa can't one-shot Sableye, so we're just going to have to hope that our opponent does not have the boss. And that Sableye knocks out their only attacker that can KO the Sableye. And hopefully Hoopa just can't do anything to us this turn. Okay, prizes are pretty much useless at this point of the game. It just comes down to whether the opponent has boss. Attached to Crobat for the retreat, and there is the boss. Well played to my opponent, very close game. Had a poor start and almost brought it back. Those triple tails on the Turbo Patch messed us up, but you can definitely see how, without bad luck, this deck can definitely do well. Moving on to our final match of the day. Opponent pulls out their Pikachu coin and gives us the hello. What a friendly player. We will hello back. And we get a Jirachi start with Roxie in the hand and Koffing and Weezing. This is about as good of a start as you can get. Facing down an opposing Jirachi. They're going straight for the Stellar Wish, no cards in hand to play down. And get a switch. So we'll see if they can put anything else down. They're going to Quick Ball. And grab a Rowlet. Uh-oh. This deck has no way to attack Decidueye outside of surprise attack from Zigzagoon. So we are going to have to go all out and KO that Rowlet right here before it can evolve, which is definitely possible. So let's start out with the Roxie. All we need now is triple Goon Ping, and we get it right off of the Roxie. Don't even need the Stellar Wish. Go ahead and Quick Ball away the rod. The game is not going to last long enough for that rod to be necessary. Either they get up that Decidueye or they don't. A Stellar Wish, Turbo Patch. Not useful, but thins a card. And we will triple Goon that Rowlet, take out both their Rowlet and their turn 1 attachment. Dark Energy off prizes here, considering attaching to Zigzagoon. Is it worth it? It is technically our only attacker, but it's not really a good attacker, and we can always power it up in one turn with Turbo Patches, so I think we're just going to go ahead and pass it on over to our opponents here. Not bothering to attach to the Zigzagoon. Opponent Stellar Wish. Let's see if they can find more Quick Balls, Great Balls, Calms, something to get them down, some more Rowlets, and they take nothing off of the Stellar Wish. And that's just going to be it. They're going to concede. I hope you all enjoyed these games with Turbo Sableye today. I hope that you all have a great day.